How about Tiger Woods, Rex, the player? You have sat in a lot of these press conferences over the past decade. There was the anything after this is gravy comment. There are some where he launched a comeback after back surgery and played well to get everyone sort of whipped into a frenzy heading in to the following season. It has been a difficult year, both on and off the golf course for Tiger. Blew out his Achilles. He lost his mother. Underwent, I believe, a 7th back surgery just 6 weeks ago, a disc replacement surgery to go on to be combined with more than a dozen other medical procedures at this point, including his ankle and his back. What did he say physically, and what do you think it means for his competitive future in 2026 and beyond?
You and I have asked Tiger Woods enough questions that he hates answering questions about his schedule. Even when we knew his schedule back in his heyday, that, okay, he's going to play the Players before the Masters. From there, he's probably going to play Memorial. He's going to get ready for the U.S. Open. Even when we knew what the schedule was going to be, he would always give you a jab like, oh, I'm going to Harbor Town to try to Monday qualify for the Heritage. There was always something sort of on the edges that he didn't like about it. So I did point out he turns 50 later this month in December, and there's a lot of talk about PGA Tour Champions. And I was actually a little shocked that he gave me a funny as his reply. He wasn't aggravated like he normally was. It was like, I'm going to play 25 events on both schedules, PGA Tour and PGA Champions. That should get me through the year. Ha ha ha. Clearly not. That's not going to be the case. Now, I agree with what you said on Golf Today, that is probably the most pessimistic I've heard when he's talked about his competitive futures going forward. And that probably has
the gravy, the gravy comment was certainly pessimistic. That was downright dire. That was bleak.
Yes, and I think it has a lot to do with, you pointed out, physically. This has been, for a guy that's had some bad physical years, this would have been particularly tough for him, having 2 separate surgeries on 2 separate parts of his body. He wasn't moving very well coming in or out of the media center, for whatever that means. Probably the most telling to me is didn't even play with the idea of playing PNC. That's a golf cart. That's 36 holes. That's your son hitting half the shots. You can just chip and putt. Apparently, he just started chipping and putting this week when I asked him about sort of where he is in his game. He has clearly moved to the next phase of his life. The idea that he might play the PGA Tour Champions is a conversation we're going to continue to have. I was a little surprised at RS Ring Classic that I talked to some sources who seem to think that the PGA Tour Champions is preparing for him to play 6 or 7 events, possibly, which to me is, I wouldn't imagine he's going to play 6 or 7 events anywhere in the world, let alone just on one tour. So that surprised me, and I think some things could change if he does turn some sort of corner. Again, by and large, on the senior tour, we're talking about 54 holes. He can ride in a golf cart. He's hanging out with his friends. It's a much different idea. From a competitive standpoint, however, he has clearly moved on to this next phase of his life. It's being father to his son and daughter. It's being sort of the outspoken, as you pointed out, the face and the voice of what the PGA Tour is going to do next, even more so than Brian Rolapp. It's being a potential Ryder Cup captain if the PGA of America ever gets around to actually asking him
Did they lose that number? Like, what's happening?
Did they forget? Did someone not put it in Outlook as a reminder that on December 1st that we should probably
contact Tiger Woods about 2027? Yep, got it right here. Sorry.
I didn't accept it. That was the problem. I didn't hit accept on the invite. I don't know what I was thinking. He's just moved on, and he's embracing, you can tell, like he's put a lot of work into FCC. That's his word for the Future Competitions Committee. He's very involved with the PGA Tour. He's going to become a captain soon. I think he's gotten to the point where, yes, if somehow his body can cooperate over the next few months, that maybe he would consider. But it was obvious right now that's not on his radar.
Yeah, he certainly seems like he just wants to play golf at this point. 2025 has been a lost year competitively, to the point where he's not even, playing recreationally with his son. And at this point, on the doorstep of turning 50 years old, that had to have been a little bit of a wake-up call. Technically, he says, the rehab is going slower than he wants. Physically, he says that he's far away. You mentioned no PNC. He said it wouldn't even be fair to the competition. It would be fair to his son Charlie, who would have to shoulder the burden of playing basically by himself, but also to another team that wants to get in there. What is a great parent-child event. He does not yet know at this point about the Genesis Invitational, another tournament that he hosts. That'd be in mid-February. That certainly seems pretty ambitious at this point. Rex, I didn't even know about late-season TGL events. You and I have friends in the TGL community that had to send a shiver down their spine as well, that he wouldn't potentially be suiting up for the Jupiter Links in early March for those events. Doesn't know yet what it means for the PGA Tour Champions schedule. You and I have kicked around the idea of his affinity for an appreciation for USGA events, maybe the US Senior Open, his affinity, his respect and appreciation, his friendship with Jim Furyk You and I were there at the Constellation Furyk and Friends just a couple of weeks ago. They had some optimism that maybe Tiger Woods would play there. He has a relationship with Inspirity. That was on his polo. You could maybe see it there. At that point, it's really up in the air. At this point, we sit here early December. He is just chipping and putting. That is a long way from ramping up competitively of, posting 180-mile ball speed, playing 4 consecutive rounds plus practice rounds leading up to a tournament, the rest and recovery afterward. To me, a more realistic target is Augusta. I'm not even sure at this point, after disc replacement surgery, if he can get there. It did not sound all that encouraging, Rexy, he could get there at this point. It's just slow. It's just slow and painful.
Look, as much as I love the romantic idea of Tiger Woods catching lightning in a bottle at Augusta National again, and we all do. We were there last time around. We know how special that could be. The idea of him showing up and walking 72 holes on that golf course when it seems like you're guaranteed one bad, cold, just brutally difficult day that's just going to take such a toll on his body, I'm not even quite sure that I can even look forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, he has continued to make the cut there. He was last among those who made the cut in 2024. It just seems to be going in a negative direction. You hope that we can see him at Augusta. It's such a special week. But at this point, TBD, Tiger Woods physically not quite there.